Jannik Sinner. Even though he's not playing any tennis, we still have to talk about Jannik Sinner. We have to talk about clostebol. We have to talk about his suspension because he has reappointed the fitness coach Umberto Ferrara, who he parted ways with sort of immediately following this investigation where he tested positive for a banned substance. Um, and this has taken a lot of people, I think, by surprise. I think some people don't really know what to make of it, but to kind of reappoint effectively someone who was very much at the heart of the scandal as a part of Jannik Sinner's team, to appoint him now in the build up to the US Open. What was your immediate reaction to this?
I did give it a bit of an eye roll because I just thought, here we go again. You're
Mm,
definitely inviting in a lot of criticism, but at the same time, I think his Wimbledon triumph actually opened up the whole doping issue again with Iga Swiatek, obviously, and Jannik Sinner winning at Wimbledon, and the fact that the headlines, especially in British media and US media, did actually bring that back to light because a lot of people who don't always follow the tour weren't aware of that. So I think maybe from his team, this was an inevitable thing when he did actually say he was playing Wimbledon without having a fitness coach or a physio. It probably should have kind of got us thinking, hang on a minute, this is very unusual. What's going on? Especially firing some people who worked with Djokovic, who are, they're very good at what they do. It did seem a bit surprising in terms of what's happened. I mean, I don't necessarily think anyone is particularly pleased about this. I think if you're a Sinner fan,
mm,
this man almost cost you
yeah.
like Yannick Sinner's career and his reputation. I think that's something that really is concerning. Is that even if you have the utmost trust in him, I imagine you did before, your fitness trainer handed the banned substance to your physio and then used it on you. So
Mm.
I think if you're a Sinner fan, you should be very concerned by this news. And I think, to be
Do you not
honest,
think you can forgive and forget? Is there a sort of an argument to say, kind of, we all make mistakes and, let's kind of move on? Do you buy that sort of approach?
think everyone should get a second chance when it comes to the nature of what his trainer has done. I think dependent on what the results came out of whether it was a big ban or a short ban, I think then some people, if they test positive for an awful lot, they don't deserve a
Mm.
second chance because they've obviously cheated. I don't think that's what's happened here. It's his prerogative. You can hire whoever you want. It does make me think when it was announced that they parted ways at the same time that the failed tests were announced prior to the US Open, that that was for the optics, that was for the
Mm.
PR of it, that it had to look like he wanted to get rid of them. But it does seem like he never really wanted to,
Mm.
and that he was very happy with them, despite the fact they actually did potentially, cause him to have a 2 year ban, if not more. So I think it's bold. It does say, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what's right for me. And I think making the decision, it is on you. And if something else happens, unfortunately, I mean, you will look quite silly for the fact that you did do this and you are inviting in a lot of criticism. But do you think that this should be raising as many eyebrows as it actually is?
I think for me, the tour moves so fast that, timing, I think, is always so important. And there's not many clear kind of moments, I think, to kind of announce this sort of thing. And this is really the only kind of pause or breath that we can catch, really, I think, before we kind of gear up and focus on Sinner and his quest to, win the US Open this year. So I think from a timing perspective, I guess it makes sense. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, has the fire been kind of, is the fire still hot? Is the situation still kind of warm? And is this stoking the fire more? Or actually, has it kind of cooled out and actually, we all make mistakes and we can move on? That's the bit I'm still a little bit kind of, you know, sort of questioning. But I do think that, this is a guy that Sinner trusts. And regardless of kind of what has happened, and he did have those he had Marco Panici, who's gone on to kind of join Holger Rune, and Ulysses Badio, who he kind of let go before Wimbledon. And I think it just shows you need people you can trust, and obviously Jannik Sinner trusts this guy a lot. So regardless of what you think he has or hasn't done, for Sinner it's a trust issue, and he knows that he can trust this guy, and that means that he can focus on his tennis, which he needs to do. So,
Yeah.
you know,
The only thing I'd say in defense of it is once you have made such a big mistake, you're so
yeah.
much less likely to do it again. I mean, imagine how strict they would be in terms of
Mm.
what substances get anywhere near Jannik Sinner now. So maybe he feels like that risk has gone. But part of me does just think that, the Sinner camp is just laughing at us. The fact that, that this was maybe always the plan, that
Yeah.
this was always going to happen. There were conversations that went on prior to this. We don't know. But it does feel like they were always going to reunite if the ban obviously was not considerable, and maybe it was forgivable because it was such a short, convenient ban that happened in the end. But I mean, the tour moves on. I think this probably will be the point when hopefully we can all move on. But just when you think that things are moving on, Joel, sort of the Sinner
It
doping
comes
case,
back.
it comes back.
It does indeed. I mean, there was a statement. They did say Umberto has played an important role in Yannick's development to date, and his return reflects a renewed focus on continuity and performance at the highest level. The decision has been made in alignment with Yannick's management team as part of ongoing preparations for upcoming tournaments, including the Cincinnati Open and US Opens. So it says to me, like, you can do what you want. If I trust you and it's more of a continuity thing, if it was a mistake and an accident, it's almost like water under the bridge. Let's move on. And I
Mm.
think when you've got kind of players around you like Carlos Alcaraz, and you need to be as focused as possible on your tennis, you
Yeah.
need to have 100% trust in
And your best
the
team,
people you
right?
do.
You want the
And you
best
need your
team.
best team.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the A team. I
Exactly.
do get that. I think the thing that will always be a bit strange is that, it was the entourage and he was part of the entourage who actually
Mm.
did cause this big, big issue, if you do believe the story. And that's what has been deemed as being the fault here, not Sinner. Sinner's been said to bear, he bore no fault or negligence for this. It was the entourage. So we will see. We'll see how this goes, and we have to hope that it doesn't end as badly as it
Yeah.
did last time.
Exactly.